week off work, so let's spend a whole crochet week together. I have a lot of like life admin to do, crochet admin, some actual crocheting, and honestly I just want to relax and chillax this week. So I thought I'd just bring you along on this week and we can hang out together. Today is Monday. I have no kind of like firm plans for the whole week. I like to kind of give myself little tasks to do each day because it gives me like a sense of routine, and it means that like I actually just don't bed rot for the whole week, because that is a very real possibility with me. I do like to give myself some tasks, some things that I want to get done, I need to get done, admin wise, fun wise, relaxing wise, just so I like remember the things that I said I wanted to do when I had my week off basically. So today I'm keeping it very, very chilled. We're actually going to be having another heat wave this week. It's going to reach about 42 degrees, which it's going to be pretty horrible, I can't lie to you. Our fan also just like crapped out a few days ago, about 4 days ago. We have one of those like big industrial kind of like fans that they have on building sites and stuff, and yeah, it just stopped working. But it is like 7 years old, so I mean fair enough, but also terrible timing. I do have like a cooling unit being delivered today. I don't know when it's going to be delivered, so I'm going to try and stay inside as much as possible just so I don't miss the delivery, because without it I'm kind of screwed, to be honest. So I do want to make sure I keep as cool as possible, but I also just want to relax as much as possible this week. Also, hello, if you don't know me, my name is Rajan, or Not Half Bad Crochet, and I am a part-time crochet designer and content creator. If you enjoy all things crochet related, like project vlogs, cozy crochet day vlogs, maybe some behind the scenes stuff, then please subscribe to my channel, stick around and check out some of my previous videos. So like I said, I don't have anything major on my agenda today. I do actually need to go outside, which I'm not particularly excited about, but I'm just trying to get like all of my outside things done, and then I can just come home and then not have to go outside again. I really want to edit a video today and get that queued and uploaded, and that's kind of it, to be honest. I think I want to spend like most of my day crocheting. So for this week I really want to crochet myself a scrunchie and maybe a bandana as well. I've been really enjoying wearing a bandana, I think, particularly where the weather is so hot, just because it's something that like pushes my hair back and it just kind of gets it out of my face, which is what I prefer in the summertime. I also have some scrap yarn I think would work really well for a scrunchie, and I haven't crocheted myself my own scrunchie before. I've made a bunch of scrunchies, but like only for other people. So those are the two kind of projects that I want to work on this week, which I don't think will take me that long, but I think because it's so hot I don't crochet as much, so it will be nice to have some like smaller, quicker projects that I can kind of work on throughout the week. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. I will be heading out shortly, and then I'm going to see where the day takes me. Oh, it do be hot. It do be fucking hot. I went outside to go do my things. It was really actually quite horrible. Very horrible, actually. I got a watermelon because I was like, I think a freezing cold watermelon actually sounds lovely. I need to cut it, obviously. But yeah, I came back, I was overheating very, very badly. Made myself my breakfast smoothie, and then I just cracked on with some editing, really, just to kind of like sit down and cool down. I'm gonna do as little movement as possible today. No update on when my cooling unit is like going to be delivered. It's not been delivered in the, you know, 10 minutes that I was outside. And I am suffering, let me just tell you. But yeah, I've just finished editing my video. I'm just going to do one last watch through. I'll export it, get the thumbnail made, and then upload it, and then I can move over to the sofa and maybe do some crocheting. Oh, let me show you the yarn that I'm planning on using for the scrunchie. So if you saw one of my recent vlogs, I crocheted myself a t-shirt with a bunch of my leftover scrap like cotton yarn that I'd accumulated over the years, and I have a little bit left over, which I've just put in this like little organza bag, and I think this will be enough for a scrunchie. I actually don't know, I haven't made a scrunchie in a really long time. Regardless, I'll give it a go, and I think just like a nice fun scrappy scrunchie will look really cute with like all of these leftover colours, and it will just be like a good way for me to use up all of the yarn, which is also very satisfying. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it today, or I might have to wait until like the cooling unit at least arrives, because I usually crochet with like a you know, those like V breastfeeding pillows that you can get. I usually crochet with one of those on my lap, but obviously with the heat it gets very, very hot, so I don't know if I will be physically able to do that today or until the cooling unit arrives. But yeah, I'm just going to take it minute by minute, hour by hour, and just see how I feel and see how it goes, basically. But yeah, it's pretty tough today. The weather is very relentless. Good morning friends, today is Tuesday. I am fresh and clean out of the shower, as I'm sure you can probably tell. I went to the gym this morning and just did like a little 5k run. I've recently gotten into running and I'm really enjoying it, which is kind of crazy. If you can hear the fan in the background, sorry. It's like our new cooling unit thing and it's actually kind of loud, and there is also a plane going by. But yeah, I started running. Me and my partner got a walking pad probably like a good few months ago, to be fair, and I started using it kind of in the mornings just to do like a 5k walk, because working from home and like not having any need to be outside of the house, like I just wasn't moving around as much as I would have liked. So I just was like doing these 5k walks in the morning just to kind of like get my body moving, and then I was like, I'm gonna try and run. It's funny because at school I used to do a lot of activity. Like I was in the netball team, I used to swim professionally, I was obviously doing like PE and stuff as well. I used to play hockey as well, like for our tournaments, like our inter-form tournaments and stuff. And yeah, I was a really active kid, and I used to do cross country, which I fucking hated doing, but like my teacher kind of like made me do it. I didn't enjoy it. And I wasn't very good at it, and I was always like, why are you making me do this? I'm not good at it. But yeah, I haven't ran since I was like a child, a teenager basically. And even though I've like been pretty active like my entire adult life, I've always kind of been to the gym and gone to the gym and exercised, I've just never done running. But I think like, I don't know what it was, I just suddenly was like, I'm gonna try it. And then I tried it, where I basically am doing like a 5-minute walk, a 5-minute run, and then I just kind of alternate the two until I reach 5 kilometers. And yeah, I've been improving ever so slightly, where I can kind of go a little bit faster or go a little bit longer. So usually I've been doing it on the walking pad, but this time I decided to do it at the gym because obviously it's so hot, and I knew that like my flat gets really hot when I do the running, and at least the gym has aircon. But yeah, so I did that. Jesus, I put a lot on my face. This is SPF. Make sure you're wearing your SPF, especially in a heat wave. But yeah, I did that, and then I did some stretching. I went to like the market in town. They had like a fidget stall, so I picked up a couple for my partner. There wasn't anything that I really liked. And then yeah, now I'm home, I'm showered, and today I don't have anything kind of major on my agenda. I just want to relax. Like I think yesterday was actually quite horrible with the heat and the lack of like a fan or a cooling unit or anything to kind of cool me down. But this fan did arrive like, it arrived at like 4 o'clock, so it was basically like nearly the entire day. It's a lot smaller than I was expecting it to be, but it does do the job of like cooling me down. It's also like a lot louder than I was expecting it to be. I'm not sure how I feel about it right now. I think me and my partner might invest in like a proper aircon unit. So yeah, in terms of my plan for today, I would like to do some crocheting. I'm hopefully going to start on the scrunchie. I did try and crochet yesterday. It was just too hot. I just like physically couldn't bring myself to do it, and like being sat on the sofa and like with no ventilator, there wasn't even a breeze, you know, whereas today it's a little bit breezier outside. I've actually got a fan, so hopefully that will kind of help and make a bit of a difference. But I did manage to get my editing done yesterday, which is good, and uploaded the video, so that's all done. I just want to crochet, I need to do a little tidy, and I want to just like sit on the sofa and chillax a little bit. I started watching The Drama yesterday, the film with Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. I didn't finish it, but I'm enjoying it so far. Also, I've been using this dusting powder from Lush. It's the Sticky Date scent, and I just put it like basically under my rolls, like under my boobs, under my stomach rolls, in like my back rolls, and anywhere that like my skin is kind of always touching each other. And honestly, it has been a lifesaver in this heat and like with the sweating, you know, because I'm like generally a bit of a sweater anyway, but combine that with having rolls and having boobs, like this has been a godsend. The only thing is that I think it's quite pricey for what it is, so I might just get like baby powder after this, because I feel like any kind of powder or anything like that in between your rolls, under your boobs, is actually really, really helpful. If you don't know the premise of The Drama, it's basically Zendaya and Robert Pattinson are about to get married, like their characters are about to get married, and they basically like before they get married, they're like, oh, let's tell each other like the worst thing that we've ever done, and it's just basically about like the drama that ensues after they tell each other their secret. And I thought it was quite interesting because like, I'm like, for me and my partner, like we're engaged, if you didn't know. We got engaged back in January, and like we've been together for 10 years, a really long time, and I'm kind of like, there is nothing that I have not told my partner about myself. He literally knows every single thing about me, and to the point where I have no new stories to tell him. There's nothing about my childhood or my, you know, being a teenager or anything that I've ever done where I'm like, oh, you don't know this. And so I was trying to think, I was like, oh, what would mine be like if me and my partner was to have Like, if me and my partner was to have this conversation, what is the worst thing I've ever done? And I was genuinely trying to think, and I was like, I can't think of anything. And I know that sounds really kind of douchey, where I'm like, I'm so perfect, but I genuinely can't think of anything super terrible that I've ever done. And like, even when I was kind of at my worst, when I was actually a bit of a bitch and I didn't know how to like regulate my emotions and blah blah blah, I still have not done anything that terrible. If I'm being so real, there is not really anything that I can think of where I'm like, oh, I would be deeply ashamed if somebody found this out, or something that I haven't already told my partner. Anyway, I thought it was just like a really interesting concept, and I do want to finish the movie just to kind of see how it ends. I don't think I've got like that long left, but I thought it was just like really interesting the way it kind of played out, because I was just like, wow, you guys are getting married and like, you actually don't really know that much about each other. I sometimes see couples, like especially online on social media and stuff, where I'm just like, do you guys know each other? Do you know each other that well? Because like, they're learning things about each other in the lead up to the marriage, which I feel is kind of crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping. I'm gonna make myself a breakfast smoothie. I'm gonna move over to the couch. We're gonna do some crocheting and I'm gonna relax. Good morning friends, today is Wednesday. I've just got back from the gym. I just did another 5k run. It's so much hotter today, it's actually quite horrible. It's not even 10 AM and it's like 32 degrees, so it doesn't bode well for the rest of the day. Me and my partner caved and we bought ourselves an aircon unit, because this little fan thing with the mister is good when it's like just me, but when it's like an additional person's body heat and then we need to kind of have it rotating, it just makes it a lot harder for us to cool down. So we did take the plunge and bought a proper AC unit. Hopefully it arrives today. It's due to arrive today, and then I'm really hoping and praying that it makes a difference. What did I get up to yesterday? I honestly did not do a lot. It was just so hot, and like luckily I had the fan with the mister thing like basically blasting on me all day, but I just like didn't really want to do anything. I really was like very much leaning into me relaxing and like not doing much. I did a couple of chores around the house. I did some laundry. I made me and my partner dinner when he got home and stuff, and then I did a lot of reading. Actually, I've been back on reading quite a lot. If you watch one of my somewhat recent vlogs where I was crocheting a Kindle cover, I kind of mentioned that like I stopped reading for a good few years, and I was very into reading. Like as a child I was like Matilda, like I very much resonated with Matilda because I was obsessed with books. Like the library was like my second home basically. And yeah, I went through some like significant trauma and I just like couldn't focus on the words on a page, and I just didn't read for ages, like a good couple years, and I loved reading. So I slowly started to get back into it by starting to read manga, and I specifically chose series that I was like already somewhat familiar with, so it kind of like eased me back into reading a little bit. And then I read a book that was like in a universe that I am familiar with as well, so it kind of felt a little bit like I know it, but I also don't know the story, if that makes sense. So Practical Magic, the movie, is based off of a book series, and each book focuses on like a different witch. So Practical Magic is obviously the film, and then we have some prequels which focuses on Maria in like the 1600s, and then we focus on the aunts, and then there's like another one which I can't remember what it is. I read the one about the aunts, and that kind of like kick-started me back into reading a little bit. So yeah, I'm back in my reading game. I'm very much enjoying it. I feel like particularly for this week off, I was like, I just want to like lie down and read, because typically at the moment when I'm working I only really get to read a little bit in the morning and then like a little bit before bed. So I've just been like randomly reading through the day, and it feels really nice just to like lie down on the couch or lie down on the bed and just read in like at like midday, you know. It feels really nice. So I'm kind of reading like a couple of series at the moment. One of them I am reading the Apothecary Diaries manga, and that is part of like a book club that me and my bestie's partner are doing together. So we kind of like basically digitally meet up every week, and we kind of talk about the volumes that we've read, and we read between like 1 to 2 volumes per week. So I read 2 volumes, I think volumes 7 and 8 of Apothecary Diaries, which I really enjoyed. I've watched the anime, so like at the moment like I'm familiar with the story, but like I watched the anime a while ago, so some of it I'm like I don't really remember this happening, or I need like a refresher, or like there's some characters who I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you now, like now that they've kind of come up in the actual manga. Also reading, I look crazy, but I need some protection. I'm also reading a series called, I think it's called like Twisted Tales or Twisted Villains, and it's basically about like all of the Disney villains, and it's like their backstory, but it's in like a multiverse. So there's, I think, 12 books, and each book focuses on like a different villain, but like they're all connected, so it's all kind of within the same universe, and like some of the characters kind of like know of each other and stuff. So it's really interesting because I'm a big Disney fan. Sorry, I am a Disney adult, and I grew up with the movies. I'm very familiar with them, so this is like really interesting because it is like Disney licensed, you know, so like the writer obviously has permission to use the Disney movies and like the script and stuff that's happened in the movies as reference. I just finished book number 4 yesterday, which I think out of all of them so far is probably the one that kind of like connects all of the books, really kind of like emphasizes the multiverse of it all, because it references the previous books and like previous characters quite a lot. And it's funny because I log all of my books on Storygraph, and I'll link my Storygraph in the description just in case you want to follow me and see what books I'm reading, and we can be friends there. I like to read the reviews of books after I've read them, just so it doesn't like kind of form an opinion for me before I've read the book. I was reading some of the reviews for this 4th book, which, like I said, arguably is the book that kind of connects all of the stories together, all 4 of the books that we've read so far. And there was somebody who left a review basically being like, oh, it focuses too much on these like other characters who are the characters who we kind of see throughout book 1 to 4, and they were like, it follows them too much, and it doesn't focus on Maleficent, because it's like her book, it doesn't focus on Maleficent, and we don't really find out like much about her, and then they never explain anything about these other characters. And I know that I should have read book 1 to 3, but like it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense because you've not read book 1 to 3. Like, it's a series. It's not, you can just like pluck one out of the middle and then expect to know what's going on and then moan about it. That's like watching the 3rd season of a TV show and then being annoyed that you don't understand what's happening. Like, yeah, of course, there's like 2 other seasons where you don't know anybody, you don't know the context of anything. And I just found it really weird. I was like, what was the point in leaving this review? But I really enjoyed it. I actually think out of all of the 4 that I've read so far, I thought it's probably my favorite. I think because it kind of like really merges everyone together, and it's like you really see the multiverse of it all converge sort of thing in this one book. And as well, we do get Maleficent's whole story. Like, we get her entire life story from like birth to like the current stage of like when we kind of meet her in like Sleeping Beauty. And I've also been reading some like books sporadically. Like, I like to kind of like alternate through reading the book series, reading the manga series, and then reading like random books here and there, just because it kind of like splits up the series for me, and it stops me being like, I just want to finish this series, you know, and I actually kind of enjoy it a little bit more. And so the other books I read Tender is the Flesh, which one of my besties recommended to me. I did really enjoy it. I just don't think I enjoyed the way that the writer writes, but I did enjoy the premise. I thought it was a cool idea. It wasn't as like gory and as horror kind of focused as I think a lot of people were making out. I don't know if it's just because like I'm a little bit desensitized and like I watch a lot of horror and I read a lot of horror, but like I was like, this is not that gory and disgusting, you know, like the concept is disgusting because it's about cannibalism, but like it wasn't as disgusting and depraved as I think a lot of people were making out. And then I read La Pavono. It's like a story set in medieval times where we kind of follow this like young boy, and it's like about like his family in this like small village and like the royalty in the village and stuff. And like it's one of those books where like there are no redeeming characters, everyone's just like a real dick, you know. But it was interesting, and like I've never read anything from that author before, but I did enjoy it and I enjoyed her writing. It's just one of those books where at the end you're kind of like, what did I just read? The weird thing was is that I was like really gripped to it, like I was really thoroughly enjoying myself, but then at the end I was like, what happened? Like, if someone was like, what's the plot? I'm like, I don't really know, you know, we just kind of are like following these characters, which I actually sometimes really enjoy. And then I also read Whalefall, because I found out that Whalefall was going to be like a movie, and then I heard that it was like based off of a book, and it's like a New York Times like #1 bestseller or something. And I don't typically like, I'm not like a person who reads books because of the hype that they receive. I just kind of think of this, I just read the synopsis and I'm like, this sounds fun. But it sounded like a really cool story. It's basically about a guy who goes diving and he gets stuck in the stomach of a sperm whale. And I love those kind of movies, like, you know, like 47 Meters Down and like The Fall, and, you know, those kind of movies where somebody is like, you know, trapped somewhere in a really obscure random place and they have to get themselves out. And so when I heard the movie was coming out, I was like, oh, let me read the book. I loved the book. I thought it was great. It's probably one of my favorite reads of the year so far. I really enjoyed it. I loved the way it was written. I loved the pace of it as well. And apparently as well, like, I know nothing about whales, I know nothing about diving, but apparently like scientifically it was like very accurate in terms of all of the diving kind of terms and information, and all of the whale information that he also gave. So yeah, I'd really recommend Whaleful if you also like those kind of stories. And then now I am going to be reading a book called Grief Eater, which is basically about a woman who wakes up and finds out she's a zombie, and she kind of like goes on this path of revenge. Apparently it's like a queer book as well. It's only like 100 pages though, so it may be one of those ones that I do end up finishing today, but that sounds really interesting. And obviously if you do want to see what I'm reading and like what's on my to read pile, I will link my story graph in the description. But yes, enough yapping about books. I am now going to move over to the couch. I am going to be as still as humanly possible today. I didn't do any crocheting yesterday. Like, I was going to start on the scrunchie, but I just like really could not be bothered, and it was just so hot. So I think I'm going to do the scrunchie today because like I really don't think it will take me that long. Now I have like this fan cooler thing, and I also am going to be getting the aircon unit. I'm really hoping that it allows me to crochet a little bit more. I'm probably going to watch some movies, maybe a couple of TV shows. I've been watching Hacks recently. I'm on, I think, season 3, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I only started watching it like a couple weeks ago. I finished watching the drama, and I finished watching a movie called Stay Alive because I started watching that the other day. It's like a older horror movie, I think from like the early 2000s, and that was fun. So yeah, that's what's on the agenda today. I'm gonna go make my breakfast smoothie, and I'm just gonna like chillax and be as still as humanly possible. Good morning friends, today is Thursday. I'm just showered fresh and clean. I didn't do anything this morning. I slept. Our aircon unit arrived yesterday, and oh my god, it's actually life-changing. Arrived yesterday at about like 3 o'clock, and it was like super fucking boiling hot when it arrived, and I tried to put it together, and there's like a hose connector that you have to like put out of the window. The instructions that were given versus the things that I had were not the same, and I was losing my fucking mind. I lost basically all of my nails in the process of trying to put it together. Oh my god, the difference was crazy. I don't think I really expected it to be as noticeable as it was, but it was, oh my god, amazing. I don't think I really realized like how kind of cranky I've been the past few days because of the heat, and like how uncomfortable physically I felt as well. And then in the evening, me and my partner went to the cinema, and so we set it up in the bedroom and like closed the door and stuff whilst we were at the cinema. And then when we came back, oh, the bedroom was lovely. It was, dare I say, actually quite chilly. And I actually managed to sleep properly because we had it on whilst we slept. Don't get me wrong, it's kind of loud, but yeah, I was able to actually sleep. I sleep with earplugs anyway, so that kind of helped. But oh my god, I actually slept properly for the first time in like a week maybe. If you are in the financial position to get yourself an AC unit, please do, because I don't think I realised like how much of a difference it would make, and it has made such a difference. So we went to see Disclosure Day yesterday, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I read some of the reviews afterwards, and I think like a lot of people were expecting like a kind of War of the Worlds like alien movie, and that just like really was not what it was. I went into it kind of blind. Like, I knew it was to do with aliens, but other than that I really didn't know anything about it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like, it kind of really reminded me of like movies from like back in the early 2000s, and like the pacing of it and like the story of it and stuff. And like, as much as it was, you know, about aliens, it's like it was also wasn't about aliens. It was kind of like more about humanity and society and belief and like faith. It was just really interesting, and I think it was like an alien movie done in a unique way. Obviously it's Steven Spielberg as well, so visually it was great. The cast were also amazing. I absolutely love Coleman Domingo. I think he's an incredible actor, and I'm so glad that he's getting like more popular, because I remember seeing him in Fear the Walking Dead way back when, and he wasn't as known then, and now he's like actually really popular, which is great because he is so fucking good. And then yeah, yesterday daytime I actually crocheted the scrunchie. I used a bunch of like my scrap cotton yarn. I obviously need to weave in some ends, but I love it. I really wanted just like a kind of obnoxiously big scrunchie with like just a bunch of different colors. I also realized as well that I had some of the cotton Aran that I used for this in like my cotton scraps bag. I had this like darker pink, I had like a baby pink, and then this like peachy color as well. So I threw those in and I really like it. I obviously won't be wearing it today because I have just washed my hair, but I really love it. I think it's so nice and I'm really looking forward to wearing it. I also read Grief Eater yesterday. It was the book that I was talking about in the morning, and I finished it in like a couple hours, which I was expecting to happen because it's like I think just over 100 pages. I really enjoyed it. It was like a fun kind of like revenge book, and like I understand why it was like so short, because it really like jumped right in there in terms of her turning into a zombie and then like her path for revenge sort of thing. It almost felt like a mini episode of a TV show or like a spin-off or something, because it was just like, here's what's happening, here's the background, here's the reasoning why, here's the ending sort of thing. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good little read, a fun quick book, because like I haven't read any super fast-paced books like that. All of the books I've been reading have been like maybe like 300 pages, so they've been somewhat short anyway. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it if you enjoy kind of like zombie storylines and revenge storylines. I would recommend looking at some of the trigger warnings and stuff, because some of it could be quite triggering. This morning I started a new book called Freaks Law, which is about a like traveling circus freaks, I guess, and then they arrive at like a small town in Scotland, and it's about them being in the small town. I'm literally like a couple of chapters in, so I barely met any of the characters and like I barely kind of know what's going on. I really love like circus stories and like clown related stories and like freak show. I've always found them really interesting, so I'm curious to see how this will go, because I don't think I've ever read anything that's like in this theme or in this realm, I guess. So today I'm going to be relaxing again. I've currently got the AC unit kind of cooling down the living room with the doors closed whilst I got ready, because I wanted to be nice and chilled. I'm planning on weaving in the ends of this scrunchie so I could wear it this weekend, and then I think I might try and crochet myself a little bandana, maybe even like a headband, because I've been really enjoying wearing like an elasticated like stretchy headband, especially in the hot weather, just to kind of like push my hair out of my face. I'm also gonna just like top up my hair dye. You probably can't see it because my hair's wet, but I have like a little bit of green that's fading here, and then a little bit of pink as well. I'm actually growing it out. I haven't bleached my roots in probably like 3 months, maybe 2.5 months, so I do kind of go through phases of like having the color in my hair and then letting it grow out and then like doing it again, basically. My hair grows super fast. Like, it's those Indian genes, but my hair grows really quickly, so I never really am bothered about like topping it up and like keeping it refreshed, because I know that it will grow out super fast, especially when my hair is quite short as well, because I get it cut quite regularly. So on this side it is meant to be green, but it fades to blue because, I mean, obviously blue and yellow make green. And this is the colour that I use for the green side. And then I have like a magenta kind of pink on this side. And this is the colour that I use for the pink side. Don't mind how roughed up they are, because obviously they're covered in hair dye. I'm going to go do that now. I'm going to do that off camera because I don't want to get hair dye everywhere. Also, I finished watching season 3 of Hacks yesterday. I am loving this show so much. I'm so glad that I've like just kind of found it, not discovered it, I'm not saying that, but that I have found it, because I think it's finished now and there's 5 seasons in total, but I think it came out like 2021, 2022, and I'm like, if I had to wait like a year for a new season, I would have been so annoyed. So I'm really glad that it's all out, so I can basically just like binge it. It's really fun. It's like a good chilled hilarious comedy. The characters are layered and nuanced. They are fun and entertaining, and like it gets emotional at times, but it's genuinely like very chilled and relaxed, but like just very engaging at the same time. It's like the perfect show to watch when you're crocheting. Comedy in it is so funny, and like the actors in it are so funny. Like I haven't actually looked it up. I hope everyone has won an Emmy, because everyone is perfect. Anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping now. I'm gonna go dye my hair. Good morning, friends. Today is Friday. So I've decided that today is going to be a bed day. Yesterday with the heat, as much as the aircon was like doing God's work, I was still extremely uncomfortable. I think because our living room is quite a bit bigger, we also don't have curtains in there as well, so I think just like the sunshine streaming in was making the room hot anyway. You can probably hear the aircon working its magic, but I will be staying in the bedroom today. I'm going to set up like a little nest of all of the things that I want to do, because I am really struggling in this heat, and like as much as I am in a very blessed and privileged position to have an aircon, I still just feel horrific. Luckily I slept pretty well again last night, so I do feel a lot better. And I think like there's been part of me that's been a little bit frustrated with this week, because I wanted to achieve a little bit more than I have been able to, just purely because the heat has been like knocking me down. So I haven't been able to like do as much and like be as productive as I would have liked to be because of the heat. And so I'm trying to just like recenter myself and reground myself a little bit, and like remind myself that taking time off work is the time for me to relax, not for me to kind of like overdo it with like feeling productive, and that like productivity culture is just a result of capitalism. By me adhering to trying to be productive and trying to be a boss bitch and do as many things as possible, that is not actually healing for me, and it's not regenerative, and it's not something that brings me joy. So I'm trying to realign my thoughts a little bit in that sense, and like just kind of like ground myself that I am in a very blessed position to not have to work during this heat wave, and that I have a roof over my head, I'm able to be somewhat comfortable and keep myself hydrated, and my friends and my family and my loved ones are all safe and also fine. Yeah, it is kind of frustrating because like I don't take time off very often, and when I do, I obviously just want to like relax and kind of like catch up on all the things that I'm not able to do whilst I'm working, because I don't have like the mental or physical capacity. And when my plans change, that is very annoying, you know. It's the autism. It's ultimately fine. I am surviving, and I will survive, and things are okay. To make myself feel a little bit better, I did do just like a little bit of tidying around the flat. I think now I've got like one room, the bedroom, as like my fridge room, that I can kind of come back here and cool down, you know, and re-regulate. So yes, enough about the weather, because I feel like I have been talking about the heat so much this week, but obviously we're in a 40 to 42 degree heat wave, so of course I'm going to be talking about it because it is affecting me and my life. But yeah, I feel a little bit better now that I've done some tidying, and I've like put my laundry away, and I've cleaned the bathroom and stuff, because where I dyed my hair yesterday, the hair dye does stay in my bath. So yesterday I honestly didn't do a lot. I did not weave in the ends of my scrunchie, but I have actually been working on a different project, which you will have already seen the vlog for, or will be seeing the vlog for. I think it will come out before this video, but I'm basically crocheting myself a backless top, and I finished it yesterday. And today I need to just like film a little bit of footage for it, not only for the vlog that's going out on YouTube, but also for TikTok and like reels and stuff. And then I need to block it. It's a really cute top. I'm really pleased with it, and like I don't own a backless top, so even as I was kind of trying it on, I was a bit like, oh, this is a bit skimpy, and I'm not used to kind of wearing something that's that skimpy on the back area. And then the other thing that I want to do is that I've been doing like a little series on my channel where I'm kind of on this like yarn stash busting mission, I guess. And so like every 3 months I'm basically showing like the before and after of my yarn storage, to hopefully see it kind of like go down and dwindle over the course of the year. And then I can also do like a recap of everything that I've crocheted in those 3 months, to kind of like see where the yarn has gone, sort of thing. So I really want to film the kind of like intro part to that, because where I finished crocheting this top, I probably want to start a new project either today or like in the next couple of days. So I kind of want to get that done before I like use that yarn, if that makes sense. I'm trying to decide what I want to crochet next, because I have like a few different project ideas. You know, like the Persian tiles blanket, I basically really want to crochet a top version of that, so like a really intricate kind of like design, but that's like in a top form, probably strappy. I don't want it to be like a t-shirt or anything, but just like a kind of like really detailed and beautiful top. That's kind of what I want to do, because I now have a fair bit of leftover yarn from like a couple different projects, and I kind of want to just like mishmash them all together but without it looking like a super scrappy project like my scrappy t-shirt, or do stripes or checkerboard or, you know, anything like that. I want to kind of like incorporate all of the colours in a different way. I feel like that would be really fun, and obviously if you would like to see that vlog, stick around because I will be vlogging the whole process. But yeah, so that's kind of what I want to do for my next project. I might start it today, I might start it another day, I don't know. I am now dressed, I'm going to go make my breakfast smoothie, and I'm probably going to film the intro to the video I was just talking about, the yarn stash busting one, and then I'm going to create a little nest in the bed, and I'm going to cool down and I'm going to relax, maybe do some crocheting. I'm going to watch season 5 of Hacks because I finished watching season 4 yesterday, and season 5 is the final season. I loved the way that season 4 ended. I love the character progression of these characters. I won't give any spoilers, of course, but if you know Hacks and you know season 4, you know what I'm talking about. But oh my god, it's so good. I think like everyone deserves all of the Emmys, which I do think, when I googled it, I do think that at least the 2 main leads have both won Emmys for their performances. But oh, they're just brilliant. The character development is amazing. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Shrinking, where like the overarching theme is like a comedy show, but it has these like real moments of like emotionalness to them, and like the character development is really beautiful, and like the relationships between the characters is really beautiful as well, which I feel like is very similar for Shrinking. So if you enjoy Shrinking, I reckon you will really enjoy Hacks because it's like a similar kind of vibe, you know. Anyway, enough yapping, I'm gonna do all those things. Good morning friends, today is Sunday. So yesterday I didn't do any vlogging just because I spent the day with my partner's parents and his sister. We didn't really get up to much, we just kind of like caught up because I've personally not seen them in like a good few months, and I know my partner hasn't seen them like for at least like a month or so. So yeah, we were just catching up at home. We had the aircon blasting, which was great. We went to go get some food, had a little mooch around town, and then yeah, just caught up really. It was a short and sweet visit. I did though wear my scrunchie. I wove in all of the ends and I think it's turned out so cute. I really love the kind of just like mishmash of all of the colors. I think it looks really nice and really fun. But yeah, I just wore my hair in a high bun and had the scrunchie over it. I think I'll get like a good amount of use out of the scrunchie, which is good. And I was basically able to use up all of that scrap yarn, which is great because that was like, you know, my intention for it. Today I am really not doing much. My top has dried that I blocked the other day, so I might just weave in the ends on that. It has cooled down a lot. You can probably still hear the aircon going, but yeah, it's cooled down a lot. It's a lot more manageable today. So I think I'm just gonna have like a little admin day. Obviously I'm back to work tomorrow, so I am just going to kind of have like a little reset. I'm gonna upload all of the footage that I have done from this week. I'm gonna weave in the ends of that backless top that has like finished drying. It dried so fast, but like obviously yesterday I was busy, so I couldn't weave in the ends. But yeah, that's kind of all I'm going to be doing today. Nothing major. I'm just going to keep it nice and chilled. I'm going to also just like check my email and like check my diary for like this coming week, just so I don't get the Sunday scaries, because I think like after being off for a whole week as well, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, what if there's like a million meetings booked in, or like, you know, I have like a million things to do, or I've forgotten something, or I'm in trouble, you know, which is such a crazy thing to think. I'm sure it'll be fine. I just need to kind of like do that so I don't get the Sunday scaries basically. So yeah, that's kind of all that's on my agenda for today, keeping it nice and chilled. Okay, so I have just been weaving in some ends for a little while. I just finished watching Hacks as well, so I finished season 5, which is like the end of the show. Oh, what a great show. Perfect end to the show as well. Like, I shed many tears. It was great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. If you haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend it. I watched it all in a very short space of time. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day weaving in some ends. My partner is coming back home shortly, so I'm just going to hang out with him. And I have checked my emails. Everything is fine. No Sunday scaries here for me. And yeah, I've had a really nice week off. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I took the week off work. I have a new scrunchie. I've woven in some ends. I finished a project and I blocked a project, and obviously I survived a heat wave, which I feel like is probably the main part of what I was talking about for this whole vlog. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And of course, if you enjoy crochet content like cozy vlogs, project vlogs, behind the scenes, then please do subscribe to my channel. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next one.